So let's try and do this. Screen's not... I can't see anything through the screen. Nah, do it that way. Which always gets my one missing tooth. Right. Yeah, I wrote to somebody this morning who's an expert on on failure. And I've long been meaning to. And I've met this woman. In fact, I've spent half a day with her. But, now, just so happens that for a few days I've been totally out of the blue. That makes it sound like I'm I'm looking for opportunities and hustling. Weirdly miraculous. I've adopted I've been adopting a now, these are the two words that I hate more than anything, because for all of the people from in the southwest, Bristol, most of the home counties, London, consider themselves one, which means that none of them are. It all cancels itself out. Social entrepreneur. No way for any money, but more importantly, I know I never get any advantage from doing anything, and but when I go and do a job, fencing, chopping wood job, I act on the principle, no matter how smiley they are, I act on the principle, they'll run out of Prozac. That's the line I've been doing lately about gibbers. It makes people laugh. That just came creatively from nowhere. Yeah, so I work on the principle, no matter how much they swear on the fucking Bible, you're going to be doing 2 days a week on that for the next foreseeable future, that they'll just wake up the next day and, no, and then just send you a 2-line text. It's just like, joke line, they've run out of the Prozac. But it's like, but even when I'm doing jobs, I will make sure if there's a socket nearby that I'll charge up every battery I've got to keep me going for another month. And I always do it as if I'm literally, if I've just come out of the concentration camp, and like every atom of food I can gather will keep me alive. Every photon of their electricity I can gather, I do so whilst I'm doing a very good day's work, and they don't know that I'm doing that. Anyway, oh God, it's beautiful up here. Right, to get to the point, to try and do this in exactly 3 minutes, because that's all the space I've got on my... Right, so, yeah, out of the blue, something that I'd assumed, there's no way that all of the fucking vapid vampires who hustle important cultural things around here, no, this one's going to be grabbed. To my amazement, nobody's really proactively, to use another horrible word, pushing forward this fantastic, really fantastic, even though I don't like towns, so I was going to spend a little bit of time there, this fantastic space. Huge place. I'll come to that in a moment. So it's like, okay, who do I know? Write a few emails, try and a really remarkable opportunity. But here's the thing, so it's like, okay, I'll stay in a place with better signal, and I'll also be somewhere where I can go and charge the laptop more often. And here's the thing. So you see, failure. What is failure? In spring 2020, although I don't use the internet much at all, it's just full of wankers. Except for one. Two. Yeah, there was the Norwegian guy, I forget his name, probably Lars. And he was making videos that hundreds of thousands of people would instantly jump on. He was sitting in his woods saying, oh, this is it. Yeah, now you've got to be resilient. Bill Gates is just about to send a swarm of microchips, bore into your eyes and eat your DNA and blah, blah, blah. And he really was, it's like, it's so earnest. Yeah, of course, he did do it in a certain way. He's sitting around by his campfire. Right, I've got to be prepared. I might have to live only by my own bow and arrow now for the next 10 years. And you all out there too. If you don't listen to me, if you don't do the same, you're bonkers. He might have been right, but history has proved not so. Now, why did I even mention this? Now, you see, I was actually, I don't use the phrase brought up. I wasn't brought up, I just survived emotionally retarded family, extremely so. But what mattered was I genuinely was a farmer. I never used to call myself a farmer, but it helps, especially around here. But it was real. Like for 7 or 8 years, my parents were always away, and me, 100 sheep, 100 acres. Some of the land was put over to other people would have their horses on it, but in a very remote area with very few houses around. So 2 or 3 times a week, and there's just me and a couple of the real old school, total yokels. Wonderful. We were great. We were completely in tune with one another. But I was the one who literally would. No machinery, no motorbike, no quad. You're not going to bother getting on a horse to 3 times a week, maybe more. I'd have to walk up quite steep fields, like a couple of kilometres up to the top of the land to go and check the the sheep up there. And it was me alone. Somebody had to do it. And I kind of was remembering, it's like, because I'm going to get to the point of this. I was listening to the fucking ridiculous, oh yes, guess what? It's a them. Hella H is for hawk. That is that book has got nothing to do with nature. Yeah, okay. A townie gets a hawk and gets a few mates to help her with it. Her father died aged 67. Okay, it's wonderful that she had a close relationship to her father. But 67 is not too far. When was that? 12 or 13 years ago. If you are having major grief over a parent dying not too far from their allotted biblical time span, our societies become so self-indulgent, it's ridiculous, which is exactly what I've said to myself as I'm reading her book. Now, I was brought up in nature. I am totally, if it's possible to be at one with nature, I'm it. Like, I don't show off by not having an umbrella. It's a practical matter to have an umbrella. I don't want my laptop and plugs getting wet. Anyway, to get to the point. I spent from about the age of 12, probably even 11. I would walk up the fields, which had a lot of woodland around, and there was a stream. I still remember the stream, and there was a certain kind of way the ground dipped, and then there were certain bouldered areas. Yeah, that was my territory, but it was always alone. I would walk up that field, and you're younger, so you feel like the bloody Himalayas. So tough guy, and I would be so in tune over. This is like for 5 or 6 years. I'd be aware of the movement of every tree. I'd be aware of, I'm coming to this little corner of the field. There's usually rabbits there. There's the badger holes up there. If you come by at dusk, you probably see or I will see a couple of badgers, because there's nobody else around ever. Just me and nature. Anyway, back to our heroic Norwegians. Performing, and I've never had any country clothing, never. I've never bought a new oilskin. I've picked one up at the odd charity shop, and that's it. Never bought expensive wellies, never bought thick socks, never bought a fancy hat. All my hats are found, except for one that cost £1. Just happens to be a toggle. This is like, I'd be doing this. And my parents weren't. My father pretended he was the local squire, who was a complete jerk. But there could have been money. Nobody had any special clothing. You had your school Mac. That was it. I had my Mac. Your average, standard, just Mac. To the point. But I was as in tune with nature as you can possibly be. And furthermore, if you're going to see your animals, the way it's done is you look from afar, you're watching. Is that one limping there? Ah, is that flock's going along away from you, but there's one lagging behind. And what's its body doing? From that you learn body language. You learn to notice every body that you encounter, every actual body, right to the point. So the Norwegian, it's like it's all performative. It's all, we've all got to be like me, completely in nature, and I've got one side, one small hand axe that I never bother using because I get the big axe out. If I were here and doing a campfire, I wouldn't bother with a little axe. I've got one, I never get it out. So you need the big axe because you use the back of it as a sledgehammer sometimes to smash down branches or whatever. Anyway, to get to the point. Here's the point. So it's like I've just been doing my couple of days away. Not away, it's not far away at all. I don't go far. Can't afford to. Despite the latest, I got 100 euros sent to buy me a coffee. Much better by PayPal. You have to pay such a lot of commission. Turned out to be £76, I think. Anyway, keep to the point. So you've got this guy. There he is, right, performing. Oh, I'm your eccentric woodsman, tough guy. I can wrestle a bear with one arm. Saviour, and I'm your wise guru. Bullshit. But, yeah, all that matters is 30 kilometres a week, and I've kind of just last week, 40. But I've been diverted for a few days. But here's the point. I'm going to try and get to the point. What is failure? Now you see, when I go down to the slightly busier, small towns, and it's all just ex-townies, you see, I watch their body language, and they're extraordinarily not at ease. Ultimate, and these are the ones who've done all. It's compulsory. You've got to go to an ashram. You've got to listen to your Sam Harris meditation tapes that your rich girlfriend got you, or she probably stole them from Harrods because she's got kleptomania because she had such a bad childhood. Mummy was always shopping at Bieber and on drugs. Anyway. Yeah, the body language of people is just so, ugh. Now, that's their business, but I notice it, and I never see anybody. There's one woman that walks through here. She seems to have good zenned-out body language, but I never see anybody with truly at one with nature body language, despite the fact they've paid a fortune to come and live here. And they don't want you to talk about their rivers because they need their property prices to stay high. Anyway, to the point. Now this is really serious. This is actually serious. So, failure. I sent this acquaintance a whole essay on failure. World champion failure. But, you see, what is failure? Now, over the last 10 years especially, last 10 years, I kind of have had a mode where I walk a lot and I search out the places like this. I don't mind if I'm walking the same place for several years, back and forth, as long as it's quiet. And you sort of, I very unusually copied somebody else's words onto Ralph Schism about 2 weeks ago. Something about the sweetness of utter fucking head fuckeration, failure, wound, failure, pain, whatever. I don't use the word pain, but there's a certain sweetness. There's a certain in absolute abject, total poverty, in complete impoverishment. And I'm sorry, all the fucking workshop nonsense. This stuff doesn't fill your spirit up. Oh, it's kind of a bit relaxing. Yeah, what did I hear the other day? Yeah, it was a good job I remembered that. I've got to find this. Yes, there was somebody from this area on the wireless talking about, we go there for spiritual refreshment. Yes, some lanyardist, some fat ex-High Court judge who's got a job as a trustee of something or other. And it's a fantastic place for spiritual refreshment. There's nothing fucking spiritually refreshing about this. And it's nice not to be around the laptop class or retired laptop class because they're so nervy, they're so needy, the staring in the whole of the southwest by these middle-aged men is just appalling, and all of the women are terrified of men. I just don't understand it. But let's try and get to the point. So it's like for the last 10 years, and sometimes I'll have months of nothing. Nobody will answer anything that I ever send. Just nothing. Bitter nothing. But it becomes a kind of sweetness. And it really does. You get used to it. It becomes your norm. And it is actually quite sweet and sustaining. I shouldn't use the word sweet because I don't use sugar really. So sugar actually damages you. Sugar fucks with your head. Okay? No, it is a kind of... There's something to it. It is a kind of power, a kind of energy. And yeah, I think it particularly can manifest itself if you're walking and you're kind of trudging along, processing your failures and all of this and whatnot, and your wounds. Anyway, see, all I was going to say, this fat Norwegian, famous 250,000 hits per stupid video, even those people won't tell you. You see, so I've been off doing my little thing. Didn't want, well, it was just came up, just like randomly, and I may well do it as long as this, because this is the point. As soon as I get back to walking, I'll do 30 kilometers this week. It's like, yeah, you're back in your own. As long as you're away from people, you've got this. Oh, what is it? It's kind of it is like you've got a kind of almost molten tar swirling around you, and you've got used to it. You accept it. You know it's not really good for you, but it kind of turns you on a little bit. There's a little, I mean, you know, and if you're into BSDM, you know, you're just a ridiculous, yet another neurotic. Yeah, so the social entrepreneur thing. God, yeah. Now, I'm not going to give any clues. I don't want anybody pitching it. But, huge, great big building. In quite good nick. Which could end up, nobody's proactively doing it. Yes, you go into a library in Britain, and they're so evil now. They're just full of compulsory Katie Ford books, Jilly Cooper. I mean, compulsory Jojo Moyes. I mean, actually, see, that's actually shit. Yeah. I'd rather eat that than lick a Jojo Moyes book. You know, this saccharine vomit has ruined everybody's head. Not mine, but so it could end up like that. And a library in Britain is somewhere where. Like, I'm sitting somewhere 4 or 5 months ago, and because now they're used for all the computer things, and all the people come in who, oh, I'm too stupid to remember my password, so, God, it's a crisis, I'm locked out of my Gmail account. The librarians have to deal with all of this continually. It is so unpleasant to be in a library. But then you have libraries which are also not just hubs. I mean, the worst word in the English language has become hub. And you even have now healing hubs, you know, privatised, private of course, by donation. No, there's another hub round here which is even more vomitish. Think Lionel Shriver, start the week. But, yeah, you're sitting in a library in Britain, and that's where the hospitals liaise with through the libraries, and you can come to the library, and through the council, I should say, and rent your heart rate monitor or your blood pressure monitor. And I was listening to an old guy, about 80, farmer, come into the library, clearly divorced or widowed or whatever, alone, and he, bless him, he was really kind of smiley, and like, you know, but he's there, heart monitor, and he's made to fill out a questionnaire orally. In other words, he's questioned, and one of the questions, like loudly, because of course all of these old people have got hard of hearing, is like, And what sex do you identify yourself as, sir? These are the kinds of bullshit, crappy, and it's almost like they're deliberately torturing this man. And I could hear it, if I could see him. It's like, say again? What do you mean? The poor guy. How embarrassed. Now, I'm not the sort of person that's going to say, because I'm a pacifist, well, it's a bit complicated, World War II, but I'm sure, I'm not the sort of person that's going to say, well, why did that generation go through a war just so they're going to be asked aged 80 in public? I'm sure the man has never even used the word sex in public for 40 or 50 years, if ever. Somebody with a lanyard sat there quite loudly asking him which sex he identifies as. I think they did say sex, not gender. I think they kind of worked out, oh, he's not going to understand what the word gender means, so I'll just ask him, which sex do you identify? And I've no interest in that stuff at all, but that's the way libraries have become in Britain. Anyway, so this big building could either end up one of them, but with a load of guile and hustle and emotional blackmail, it could end up something a lot more like a good old-fashioned proper temple of critical thinking. But that's not the same as critical race theory. That's critical thinking. So I've been hustling to see if others, because I don't want to do it all the time, because no, you see, that's the point. The point is, just coming back, even 3 days a week minimum, sort of walking with this. Is this failure? See, that's the point. I don't think it is failure. I think it's the opposite. You see, because it's not like I'm a misanthrope, or I'm certainly not a. I would like to spend more time socialising, really. I put quite a lot of effort into trying to begin socialising, but everybody's so fucking cliquey and arsey, it's just ridiculous. And I think they all assume that you're an axe murderer unless you've been to the same Buddhist wellness classes they have. Which is, of course, why the blokes go in the first place. I'm sorry, I'm not buying into that one. But yes, you see, what is failure? Now I am very. If I've got a project, a purpose, I just go for it full time. I like from 5:30 in the morning. In fact, I sent an email, quite a long email, at 4:45 this morning, to the big boss man of the trustee who I spent a few hours with. It's like, full power, do it. It's got to be done. That person there should be doing that function. I don't know anybody around here, but I know one or two people elsewhere. And, I can do that. But there is no pleasure in that. There's no real pleasure. The real pleasure, you see, is, and I know it will succeed, because this one's a bit different. They've got a chunk of money, big money, and nobody's using their imagination to sort of visualise the best possible outcome. There you go. See, that's what I'm good at. Fool, fantasist that I am. But actually just copying something else. But it's like, but this is the mode I want to be in. This is the bit that is great. I've had an hour's walk up here, and I've just been gliding along in the zone as usual, just kind of with the complete sweetness of a certain kind of bleakness. And you see, actually, I think that is success, because to be entirely content with that, as long as I've got 500 calories in me, no aches and pains at all, and I've got enough energy to do a walk like this, and I'm not even going to say embrace, no, to entirely accept that there is a certain sweet, sticky, it's not the right word, a kind of hot, smelly tar that's kind of part of the thing, that is dark and nothing and bleak. And I know everybody's got having fucking mental problems everywhere. Everyone. You see, that is success, because it works. I was not enjoying myself for a couple of days, despite, in fact, even despite spending some time with a truly wonderful, no-nonsense Cambridge PhD who completely agreed with me. No, all this crappy books have ruined everybody's heads. You know, we've got to sort of be focusing just on what's really great, useful culture. Of course, you can't say to anybody, but there ain't fucking no great culture except Rachel Cusk and Elizabeth Day. Rachel Kushner, and then lots of European modern literature. Stendhal's 3 times better than Dickens. No, we're just so philistine and pathetic. Anyway, turn this off, but yeah, it's like, what is failure? It's like to be able to spend 3 or 4 hours this morning, even making a phone call, repeating myself as usual, and know that as soon as I get back into a walk in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of January, with no warmth, I mean, look at this. Oh, no, I can't zoom it. My screen is so buggered. Yeah, that's that's beautiful. An artist looks at that and says, and it's extraordinarily, it's got something to it. But there is no oneness with nature. There is only, everybody's so fucking precious, fragile, arsey. They make ridiculous assumptions. They're just, unfortunately, just thick. But there's nothing else except being able to be entirely oblivious and cheerful and glide, landlopy glide. Landlope as if you're on one of those stupid electric things they have, but I don't want any machinery in my life. And be entirely, that's all I want to do today. Nothing else. That's success. The end. Really hard to turn this off.